What if I told you that right now in 2025, robots are greeting people in hotels? They are cooking entire dinners and serving them, and they're running entire shopping malls with almost no people. If this sounds like a sci fi movie, I assure you it's not. But if you're wondering what this means for the rest of us and where do we go from here, you are not alone. These are questions that everyone has been asking in 2025. And that is why today's episode is so very important. Today, I'm going to be doing a calm, honest reality check on where we're at the end of 2025 when it comes to artificial intelligence. Has it been taking over a lot of industries and jobs and tasks as we have been told it is? Is it here for good? Is it here to help humanity? Or is there something else that we should be preparing for? I want to show you what AI has changed in 2025 without hype, without fear. I just want to unveil to you what has happened this year in AI and why it actually matters for your next chapter in 2026. Welcome back, everyone, to a Mindset Medicine podcast. I am your host, Katharine Lucadu, and I have been doing this podcast for 5 years, and the topics have always revolved around you, mindset, energy, health, work. And I think that it's important that at this point in our lives, it's time to talk about the future of work and the future of humanity. So, most of the AI recaps this year are either going to be very technical, they are going to be very dramatic, they're going to be, or they're going to be sugarcoating a lot of what has been happening under the radar, but a lot of people don't even know what's been going on. So I would like to bring you all of that without sugarcoating it, without making it dramatic, just letting you know what's happened this year in 2025 with AI, with humanity, with the way business is going, human intelligence, decision intelligence, because it's interesting what's been happening to the way people have been making their decisions. I am going to look at this through a more human lens. And I genuinely want to show you how AI has actually helped humanity. And I know that if you are not a proponent of AI, this may not, you may not like all of these innovations that I'm going to talk about today, but bear with me. I would love if you would just stay open-minded and just listen to the good things that have come about with artificial intelligence. We are going to talk about how it has actually surprised us in the physical world and possibly reveal to you some of the misunderstandings from lack of knowledge of what AI's job really is and how it will actually affect us. What this means as I record this to you as my second last episode of 2025, and what does it mean for us going forward? My next episode next week, which I hope you'll tune into, will be predictions for 2026. So let's dive in. And if you've been listening along for quite some time, please subscribe to the podcast, share it with someone who may also want to know what's going on with AI this year, what's happened, and what's happening next year. So let's dive in. As I have now hit 77 countries around the world, I do understand that AI is not a North American specific innovation. It has reached every country around the world. Each country is digesting what it does. They are deciding how they want to implement it into their politics, their economy, their their businesses, the the rules and regulations that are going to be surrounding it. For most people, AI isn't about robots taking over. It is actually about reducing the friction when life gets overwhelming. Many times we say to ourselves, well, we keep moving forward with all of these new innovations, but is life actually getting easier because of them? So I'll ask you, are you finding that life is becoming easier or is it becoming more complicated? And my theory right now is we are at this we're in this gap of very, very modern technology and AI and what we have been using for the last 20 years. So we've been using the internet and we've been using computers and so on. But what AI does is actually provide you a different way of even thinking through things that you may not have considered. So let me give you an example. Google rolled out their live translation. And so what happens is Google can actually live transcribe someone else speaking in a different language to you. You can wear earbuds. And if you are traveling to a different country, or maybe you're in a business transaction with someone who does not speak your language, Google will live translate what that person is saying to you. So, what does that mean for you? That means that there are no more boundaries. If you decide that you want to visit Asia or India or any country where English is not the first or even second language, possibly, or maybe you're going to visit remote parts of those countries where very often very little English is spoken. Whatever your native language is, if you happen to be listening to this and you are in Eastern Europe or you are in Russia, wherever you are, Google will now be able to live translate for you. The world is now shrinking. So we have the ability to communicate without borders. There's really nothing stopping us from doing business with people in any country around the world, from visiting any country around the world. So if you're traveling, maybe even just talking to family abroad, I grew up not being able to speak to my own grandparents in Greek because I didn't know Greek. If I had that live translator today, the things that I could ask them about their childhood, what was it like? What was it like living through two wars on the island of Cyprus? Tell me about raising 9 children. What was that like? These are some of the things that I would ask them. But I didn't have that opportunity back then. So that's why I say not everything that has now been innovated is a bad thing. We just have to look at it as how can it help us? How can it make life better for us? AI captioning and transcription is now so seamlessly good. It is now baked into the videos that you see. If you're watching a show on YouTube, what does that do for people who weren't able to have that before? Someone who has a reading disability and wants to use AI can now use the voice function. So they too are not left behind. There are no longer challenges or barriers, I should say, for hearing challenges and different learning styles. When I was a teacher, I remember I was working in a private English school, and the students who were there were from very well-to-do families. Now, 20 years ago in the education system, we didn't have labels that we put on students. And what I mean by that is, now, of course, this is in Europe. I did not teach in a high school in Canada. I taught in university here, but not high school. So when I was teaching there, I had a student in my class. Now, remember, there are no labels. So there was a student who was having challenges reading. His writing would sometimes be backwards. So I went to the library when I was there to look up what some of these things could mean. And I understood now that he had dyslexia. His parents insisted there was nothing wrong with him. Yet this boy was struggling so much in class. My heart felt for him because I could see he wanted so much to do well, and he just couldn't because he didn't have the tools. So, from the research that I did, I sat with him on a few breaks and I explained some little things that he could be doing in the way that he was reading, for example, covering up all of the text on a paper and just revealing line by line. And that way the brain doesn't get confused by all of the letters and numbers, because that is what can happen in dyslexia. Today, using AI as a learning tool, your child no longer has to suffer with a learning disability. Because if it can be explained to AI, then the AI can then go back and find the learning style appropriate for your child. But not only children, if you are an adult with a learning disability, AI can help you overcome that. It can help you do your work better. If you've been struggling and maybe hiding a learning disability that you know you have, but you don't want anyone to know about it, use AI to help provide you tools to make that easier for you. You do not have to struggle. So these aren't flashy, things that are going to be talked about on the news. But I wanted you to know that there are ways that AI can help in your everyday life to make it better. If you're aging and you're finding your sight or your hearing is going, we have these capabilities now with AI to help you so you no longer have to struggle. We are moving to the day and age where struggle is a choice. Every day, I am surrounded by people who I see struggling. They're struggling for an idea. They're struggling for a way to do something. They're struggling for a solution to something. Why are you hurting your brain trying to think about this and literally hitting a wall when you can go on to any large language model, which means a ChatGPT or Google AI now, or a Claude, or all of these different platforms, and brainstorm with them? You are not left with no solutions anymore. I understand that there is hesitation. I understand that people still feel very stressed about wanting to hand things over to AI. I'm not asking anyone to hand anything to AI. What I'm saying is, life is already complicated as it is. What if you could make life simpler? Focus on what actually is important to you. Prioritize. Would you like to spend more time with your family? Instead of racking your brain over an idea that you cannot figure out, what if you could just figure that out in 2 minutes and then spend the other half hour actually implementing the ideas that you're getting? So, let me give you the second lens that I see AI through, and I've been watching in 2025. Let's move on to medicine and health. Little bit of a tricky subject. It's like that gray area where people aren't sure. Should I be speaking to AI about a medical issue? And here's what I want to tell you. I'm just going to show you what it's done, and I'll let you decide for yourself. AI at the moment and for the next foreseeable future is not replacing doctors, but it is assisting them. Mount Sinai's new AI tool doesn't just flag harmful genetic mutations, but it can predict the specific diseases that may be caused from that genetic mutation, which will then speed up diagnosis for families who are in limbo. If you knew that there was something wrong, but no doctor anywhere for the last few years has been able to pinpoint what your issue is, would you not want an answer from artificial intelligence who has now superseded the intelligence of a human being? It has this year. Why would you not go to this other being that has the answers? I may sound passionate about this because I don't understand why people would want to suffer when there is something that can give you the answer. You just have to look for it and reach out and grab it. If Mount Sinai, one of the best hospitals in the world, can use AI to help diagnose very harmful genetic mutations, why would we not want to look further into that? The Mayo Clinic highlighted AI-powered drug discovery in their big 2025 breakthroughs, which is accelerating their research. Institutions are also bringing in equity standards. So, understanding how we can provide an equitable amount of healthcare to people. There are so many things that we have taken for granted. So, for example, walking into a doctor's office and you're not exactly sure what's wrong, they're not exactly sure what's wrong, but let's just give you antibiotics. That should cover everything. What if it no longer had to be like that? What if we could use AI to diagnose every single symptom that you have? And along with your blood tests and along with any other physical examination, actually put together an accurate diagnosis of exactly what's wrong with you. And no more second guessing, no more wondering. We could piece it all together, and you now have the exact answer you're looking for with a more accurate way of healing you. Is that not using AI for the better? These are some of the questions that I ask people. Here's the next lens that I'd like you to consider AI through. So, education and skills. A private AI tutor Could this be helpful for students and adults who are learning or they are trying to understand a new concept? A 2025, this year, study showed that students who were using an AI tutor learned significantly more in less time than in an active classroom with a teacher and 30 to 35 students. Is it surprising? Not really. The student felt more engaged. The student felt more cared for. And I say cared for not in an emotional way, but the fact that there was something who is taking the time to really understand what the problem is. And that thing, meaning AI, doesn't get frustrated, will be patient with you for hours upon hours and days on end. When I taught, what I noticed was when a student was struggling, and if you are a parent, you have felt this. Your child comes home with some random assignment in math or English or any other subject. The child is there struggling, trying to figure out how to do this homework. You may not understand the homework either, or you understand it, but you can't explain it very well to your child because you're just not a natural born teacher. Totally understandable. And so what ends up happening is the parent just steps in and does the work for their child. Here, let me just do it and let's just get you off to bed. Or seeing your child start crying because they're so frustrated that they can't figure out the math problem, or they can't figure out how to answer the English composition questions or comprehension questions. What if you, as the parent, no longer had that worry? What if an AI tutor could just walk through all of that work with your child in an understanding, peaceful, calm way? And once they have figured out your child's learning style, your child never has to be frustrated again because the AI tutor is going to give them the tools they need to be able to understand it again the next time that they're in class. I don't see this as cheating. And I was in education for 20 years. What I see this is as a patient study partner. Let's move on. In 2025, AI actually has become a confidence booster for those people who chose to use it in a way to help themselves. Imagine being given a wrong diagnosis by a doctor and then having a discussion, perhaps finding a doctor who uses AI in their practice. The doctor feels very confident in their skills and in their competence and intelligence, but knows that AI has more far reaching intelligence that that doctor could use. Would you not choose to use that doctor who's also using AI in lieu of the doctor who is wanting to remain with old-fashioned methods? And I don't think that they're wrong, but I think that there are times when you get sick and there is no explanation. That doctor has no explanation for you. They don't know. Maybe they've never seen it before. I've been in these situations, and maybe that's why I feel passionately about this. I've been there. I've been in those doctors' offices where they say, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have an answer for you. This is why I say that I think that as we move forward into 2026 and beyond, struggle will become a choice because there will be places for answers if we choose to want them and to search for them. Let's move on to crisis protection. So, how can a country use AI to protect its people? AI has improved forecasting. So, the ECMWF made their AI system fully operational for flood warnings in Europe, providing earlier and more precise alerts. So, what it does is it processes massive amounts of data to spot hazards that could be incoming faster than before. So, imagine if you have a few days' notice that this is coming. Maybe the outcomes would be less severe, fatalities would be less severe. The next one, and these are just sort of highlights. I mean, there's so many things that have happened this year. It's unbelievable. But I want to talk about a video that I watched, and it was an actual video, and it was showing where China is at in their robotics and in their use of AI throughout their country. The part that surprised me the most was not quite understanding how quickly China has moved forward into a very, very modern world with so much automation. And again, that is going to have opinions from everyone as to whether that's a good idea, a bad idea, the end of the world. I don't know. What I'm finding is that it was just very fascinating to see what's happening in China. So here are some of the things that I'm able to tell you what I saw. So in Beijing and Shenzhen, there are robot malls. Lifelike humanoid robots are staffing cafes, shops, entertainment. They are cooking meals and being served. They are making coffee and lattes at little carts on the sides of malls. Lunch can be delivered to you while you're in the park via drone. There are robot kitchens. There are automated servers in hotels and restaurants. Hotels like the Shangri-La has deployed humanoid butlers. They greet guests, they deliver food to rooms, they are cleaning rooms, and they are handling the luggage. This isn't a futuristic movie or a sci-fi movie that's just come out. This is actually happening in 2025. We are seeing glimpses of it if you are living in North America. But there are countries that are going full force into this. So, efficiency is exploding and it is freeing up humans for more creative human work. If people think that AI is coming, what they haven't realized is all of these innovations that have been unfolding over 2025. So, why don't we talk about how real people have been using it this year? So, we won't talk about the large hotels, the restaurants, we won't talk about governments and so on. Let's just talk about how everyday people have been using AI in 2025. So, We have practical uses of it, using AI in email, like I do, where it can sort my email for me. I no longer have to read through a huge list of emails every morning. It will sort, pardon me, the AI within my email can sort it into categories. For example, these are newsletters. This looks like high priority. This is from someone who has sent you an email before. I can also put off an email and ask for a reminder to come back into my inbox in a few hours. It's wonderful. We have workflows, new automated AI workflows. We have we have we have it now built into Microsoft Office and into your Google Workplace. So if you've noticed, you can start writing and it will say, would you like to enhance this with AI? And AI can come in and change some of your words or make it sound better or change the grammar. So is this negative? Is this bad for humanity to improve upon what we've been doing? Or could we look at it through a different lens and say, it's giving us back our time? We don't have to do these tasks like reading through 30 minutes of emails when they can just be summarized for us. Is that not a good thing? What's happening is that tasks are shifting. What no longer seems to be a priority, reviewing your emails every morning. Yes, that's important. But if there's an AI that can summarize those emails for you and let you know which ones have a high priority message in them, need someone to get back to them immediately. If those could just be a highlight reel every morning, wouldn't you get your time back to be able to do something else? So here's what I think that 2025 revealed to many, many people is that it's not necessarily AI itself, but it's what AI revealed in people about themselves. So it could be that many people are now uncertain of the direction that they want to go. So if you don't want to adopt AI in your work or your business, what do you do next? If you have a fear of making the wrong choice, so what do I do next? What if you're at a place in your life right now, you're midlife, you've been doing the same job, they've come to you and said, you know what, we're moving in a very fast forward AI direction. And you don't necessarily know if you want to go along with that. Maybe it's time to exit and do your own thing. What does that look like for you? Are you unsure of what that direction looks like because you've never really had to think about it before? Do you feel overwhelmed with how quickly things are moving forward in the world? How quickly these apps keep coming up and doing other amazing things, which you cannot keep up with. Tools are moving very fast. And when they are, your indecision is becoming more and more expensive to you, to your business, or to your company. Because what it's doing is that it's amplifying the fact that there may be gaps in how efficient something could be. Knowing your path over the next few years is what will make you unstoppable. Not knowing what that path is going to lead you to feeling lost. I promise you, it's just going to happen because as things keep moving so quickly ahead, where do you fit into that? What do you do with it all? How do you incorporate it into your life, into your business? This is what got me thinking in how can I help people to adjust to all of this? How can I help you to make a decision faster that would get you to the place that you really want to be? You know, that idea, that vision that you have of where you want to be in life, you know where you are now, but it's not where you think you're going to end up. How could I move you there faster? So that's where I came up with the idea of direction DNA. And for me, I call it my decision intelligence system that uses AI, but it also uses the human being, Katharine, and her experiences in making decisions quickly and moving forward on the right path and not wasting time and energy and money. Not to mention, whenever we cannot decide something, you know that we're affecting the people around us because our mood changes when we can't make a decision. When we don't have clarity in the path that we want to move ahead, other people feel that tension. They feel our struggle. And I want to lessen the amount of pain that you and other people around you are feeling because you can't quite figure out what direction you want to go in. So that is what direction DNA is. It is, I am going to help you simulate whatever decisions that you need to make, the directions that you want to go. Do I stay here? Do I make a small pivot? Or do I do something completely different? I will simulate, I will pressure test each of those paths over a 12-month period for you. So I'm actually going to give you a lens into the future before you even have to go there so that you have more certainty when you make your decision. So if you have always thought to yourself, oh my gosh, I would love to open a business, my own business. I would love to open my own business, and maybe it's in a different country. This is what it would be. This is how I imagine my day. But I don't really know if I should do that. It's really risky. I don't know if I want to spend that money and time. I'm kind of scared. I have a family to provide for. I don't know if that's responsible. I will simulate that entire future of the next 12 months for you. So you actually know, okay, you know what? This is a viable path for me. Or you may realize, oh no, oh my gosh, thank God I saw that now and I didn't go down that road. That is what my direction DNA will do for people. It will help you make that right decision faster and avoid the risk that could have been made by making the wrong decision. So, if you would like a free look into where you're at in your decision making, I created a snapshot. It's an 8-question quiz that will help you understand where you're at in that decision processing of yours. So if you'd like to know where you're at and what your next step should be, follow the link below in this podcast or in my YouTube, or if you're watching this anywhere else, there will be a link. It's free. It's literally going to take you less than 60 seconds to find out if you're ready to make a decision, if you're ready to move in a different direction, or maybe you're just not there yet. It's going to tell you whether you're low, medium, or high. And it's also going to give you a report that will explain to you where you're at, likely right now, and the direction you should go at the point you're at. It's tailored to you. It's free, less than 60 seconds. And I think it's going to give you some insight that you may be craving right now, especially as we're going into a new year. I hope that you have found this recap of 2025 in the AI sphere interesting. I hope you found it somewhat helpful, maybe got you thinking that you could be looking at things in a different way through a different lens. I'd love to hear your feedback. Share it with someone who may also want to hear what's been going on this year in 2025 around the world. And stay tuned for next week because the 2026 predictions of where we're headed. What does this all look like? Stay with me, and we're going to go through it all because I want you to feel ready, prepared, and happy about the way that we are progressing forward. Bye for now.